Main aim of this workshop is that you should be able to start your own small kitchen garden in your home, wherever you are. Say you may be in a flat, or you may be in a you will be having very small amount of space, so that doesn't matter. You can start with small number of plants, and if space is there, you can expand. So we'll be starting with the program. So first of all, we all know that we are consuming all kinds of vegetables, fruits, etc. Whatever we know, we are consuming, and why we are consuming all these fruits and vegetables? We know that they are very rich in vitamins, say minerals, antioxidants, etc. So even though we are consuming all these kinds of vegetables and fruits, then
So, what may be the reason for increase in the number of cancer patients and the patients affected with other diseases, including patients with malnutrition problem? So, we are eating all kinds of vegetables and fruits, but even though the number of patients are getting increased day by day, we should think of this very carefully, right? So, what may be the reason for that? According to me, the one of the reason for this problem is that we are consuming a certain percentage of HIT daily. So what do you mean by HIT? It is your normal HIT which you are used for killing the cockroaches. Right? We are using in our home on a daily or in a weekly basis. That same HIT. So have you gone through the active composition or active chemicals involved in that? You can see that cypermethrin is one of the most important active ingredient in this insecticide, right? And the same cypermethrin is sprayed on our curry leaves as well as chilies, right? You may have seen you are using this curry leaves and chili on a daily basis, but the same cypermethrin is sprayed on this, right? So what will happen, even though you are consuming this in a very small quantity, it may be affecting us after some time. So we should be very careful about this.
so what is a bad effect of this hypermethrin? When you are spraying this hit on a cockroach, what will happen? Instantaneously it will die. So how it is dying? This cypermethrin is affecting its, say, nervous system. Directly it will penetrate into its body, and its complete nervous system will be, say, paralyzed, and finally it will die. Right? So what will happen if we are eating such kind of vegetables? It may be, say, it may be only in very small quantities, but when time goes on, it will keep on affecting our body, right? So this is one of the reasons in increasing in the number of cases of cancer and other diseases, right? So how or what is the reason behind this? Because nowadays generally we are doing chemical farming, right? Why? Since you are doing the chemical farming only, your chemical pesticides and chemical fertilizers are coming into picture. Because in the olden days we are not using all these things, or even though if you are using, you will be using only in a very little quantity. But now it is not like that way. Farmers will be given with a bottle. Farmers will take an infected leaf from their farm. They will show it to the shop, pesticide shop. So what they will do, they will give a bottle where they are getting more profit, right? So they will give that bottle. Farmers will spray it on their crops. They don't know what are the bad effects of that, and most of the farmers don't know what is the dosage we should use. Generally, it should be used only in 1.5 or 2 ml in a liter, but they won't follow that, right? So that is a basic uh, procedure followed in a chemical farming nowadays, right? So what does this do to the nature? It will be creating a dead soil, right? Generally, our soil should be full of life, but by using this chemical fertilizers and pesticides, you are killing that soil, right? So this is the most important effect which you are causing due to the modern chemical farming. So what will be the end result of all these things? Right? You are spraying all kinds of chemicals in your food, right? And most of them will be falling onto the soil. So what will be the end result of this? This will be the end result, right? That means our younger generation will be affected with this. Even though now we are almost the same, we don't know what will be the condition of the next generation. They will be having all kinds of disease. Malnutrition will be another problem. We don't know how it is going to affect the whole nature. So this will be the end result. So how can we save our whole human race? Right? We don't know how it will be affecting in the in the coming future. So how will you save us, or how are you going to save your younger generation? Right? There is only one go for that. You need to grow your own food. Right? Whatever thing you are doing in your day-to-day life, you should be able to grow your own food, at least in a small amount. And if each of us are able to grow our own food, so at least in a few quantity, then you can reduce this, right? And if you are able to develop that habit in our home, we will be able to spread this news to the farmers, or we should be able to say inform the farmers that we are doing this, right? You can also start doing this at least, and you can try to say explain them what are the benefits of doing all these things. So they will also start moving in that manner. So first and foremost thing you need to do is that you should grow your own food, at least in a small quantity, right? And if again you may tell that you are not having that much space, so at least you can grow chilies and curry leaves, because these two things you are using in your day-to-day life. It may be in a small quantity, but in your day-to-day life you are using these two things, and these two are very much required for our body also, because they are good. They are having so many kinds of minerals, and they are having good antioxidant capability. How will you grow your own food? So I told that you should grow your own food. So how will you grow your own food? How you can do that? By following this technique, organic agriculture. Right? So organic agriculture is a general term. If you are going to implement it in your home, you can call it in this manner: organic kitchen garden. Right? Organic kitchen garden. So why you are calling it as organic kitchen garden? Why not something else? Right? Yeah, generally we are calling it as organic agriculture. In that specifically, we are dealing with organic kitchen garden. So why you are calling it as organic kitchen garden? How this kitchen came into this picture?
Sir,
Tell me.
because we are using kitchen waste,
Ah,
vegetable waste.
vegetable waste. That may be one of the reason. Any other idea? So this is the
Sorry.
reason. This is the reason, right? Because in our olden days, we consider our kitchen as our hospital. There were no other hospitals. Only if you say Ayurvedic doctors were there, and they are not doctors; they are known as Vaidyans, right? So this is our olden day principle, right? We are considering kitchen as our hospital, right? And who is the doctor in that hospital? Your mother will be your doctor, right? Generally, because she will be taking care of the family. Father will be going here and there to earn the livelihood. Generally, mother will be taking care of the family. Why this specialty is given to the mother? Anybody have thought of that? Why not father can do that? Because generally speaking, it is not, I have not found it out. I have heard from others, other experienced person. Only mother can do many parallel jobs, right? Say for example, she will be helping in your homework. At that time, cooking will be happening, right? In the same time, something will be happening. She can manage all these things parallelly, right? That is why we are considering mother as equivalent to our God. The fathers may not be in that position. If they are starting on a job, they can do only that job. They cannot have this parallel thinking, right? Generally, exceptions are there. So mothers are, finally speaking, they are emotionally centered. They can do parallel things, right? They will be going for job. In addition to that, they can do other parallel things. They will be taking care of the family, right? So mother is the most important pinpoint in your family. She is your doctor, right? Kitchen will be your hospital. Who is the doctor in that? Mother will be your doctor, right? And what is the medicine used in that hospital? Food will be your medicine, right? Whatever medicine, even though you are taking external medicine you are taking, if your food is not good, it won't affect our body, right? Your disease will not be cured. So you should take food as your medicine. So if you are taking food as your medicine, most of your illness will be going out from your body, right? So this is why kitchen is given more importance in this farming methodology. That is why organic kitchen garden came into picture, right? Because your kitchen is your hospital, who is taking care of your health. All the instruments in the kitchen are the instruments in the hospital. Who is taking care of your health in the kitchen? Mother. How he is taking care of the persons in that home? By giving medicine. What is a medicine? Food is your medicine. How should you grow that food? In an organic manner, right? So what do you mean by organic agriculture or organic farming? Can you tell some uh, inputs? Generally, organic farming means what? Or what are the, say, principles on which it is laid on? Any idea?
Naturally producing food.
Producing food. So organic agriculture means, when you, if you are splitting that word, agriculture, we can split that word into two: agri and culture, right? So actually, your agriculture means it is nothing but it should be a culture for our human race. It should be developed as a culture, right? But nowadays it is not like that way. Nowadays it is agri business. So we should not directly consider agriculture as a business. But anyway, money is required. But you should approach it as a cultural thing. You should consider it as it is a part of our culture, Indian culture. That is why agriculture is given in the name itself. We are not using that, but that culture is very important, right? And this organic agriculture, it is, or it can be classified as an art as well as a science. No other thing can be classified into both these things. Right? Say if you are studying engineering, it will be coming under one science, some science. If you are studying, say, dance, etc., it will be coming under art, right? But agriculture, if you are from organic agriculture, means It can be classified into both the categories. It falls into both the categories. It is an art as well as a science. Right? And what is the difference between art and science? Any idea? What is the basic difference between an art and a science? Anybody? Why do you call, or what is the speciality of art? What is the speciality of science? So art is nothing but it is a particular field, or art cannot be taught to anybody. You cannot teach art. Say dance. If you want to teach me dance, if I am not having a talent in that, I cannot study that. Even though I study, that perfection will not be there. Right? If you are having that talent, then only I can teach art. Otherwise, basically, I cannot teach art. I should study, or I should have that talent. But science is not like that way. Science can be taught. You are having some fact and figures, you are trying to teach that. You can teach. So, organic agriculture is an art as well as science. That means it is having all the facts and figures. Science is behind that, right? As well as it is an art form. That means you cannot directly teach an art if I am not having a talent, right? So if I am having a basic talent, only I can teach that, right? If I am not having the talent, you should somehow develop it. Nobody can teach. Try to develop that. And it is also a science. So it is having a scientific background. What is the science of organic agriculture? Ecology. Have you heard about this term ecology before? You have studied biology, chemistry, physics, etc. Ecology, have you heard? Any idea? So ecology means it is a branch of science which connects all the organisms and its interactions with the whole universe. Right? It is a branch of science which connects all the organisms in this world, and or all the organisms in this world are how they are connected to the actual biosphere or the world. There is a branch of science dealing with the organisms and its interactions with the external world around us, or the biosphere, the total earth, right? So it deals with this interaction. So according to ecology, you should not destroy anybody, whether it is a pest or an insect or whatever it is. You are not allowed to destroy anybody, because they are created for specific task. Each of them are having specific task. You cannot simply destroy them, right? You should have a ecological balance in the nature, right? So for example, you have seen frogs. If you are keep killing on these frogs, what will happen? Number of insect population will keep on increasing, right? Because there are no frogs to eat them. And if frogs are dying, what will happen to a snake? Their population will keep on dying because they don't have food. So you are having something known as food chain in this whole universe. You are not allowed to disrupt that. So ecology deals with this. So whatever you are doing in your day-to-day life, try to think in that manner. Whether you are creating some problem to the world, you can think in that manner. So that is dealt in this science known as ecology. So ecology is the basic science of organic farming, nothing else. This is a basic science. Whatever you are doing in organic farming, it should be based on this ecology. More details of ecology you can go through the net and you can find it out. So basic crux is this. It deals with the interaction of all the organisms with the external world. So all organism means we are also a part of that, right? There is only one race in the world who is destroying the nature. That is a human. Nobody else is destroying the nature. You can think of that. We are creating all the problems in the nature. That is why now corona came. We have never thought of this situation, right? A small virus, we cannot even see that virus, but that virus made the whole world sit in their home. Why? This ecological balance has been disrupted due to some reasons. That is a basic problem. None of the other creatures are destroying the nature. They are living simply. They don't um, affect the ecological balance. We are creating all the problem. So how to solve this problem? We need to think. How to reduce this disruptions created by human race. How we can reduce that? By performing organic agriculture, right? And I would like to ask one more question. What is the basic task of a human being? Why humans are created in nature? Any idea? By the world. Why they are created? What is the basic job of a human being? Any idea?
So to improve the nature.
Improve the nature. Uh, any other idea? So the basic aim for the job of human being is dash. That is nothing but seed distribution. Have you heard that term, seed distribution? Right? Because when the nature was created, they need to multiply the plants and trees and other things. How it was done? Their seeds were taken, carried away by some birds, for example. Birds will take that fruit, they will eat it, and they will distribute that seed somewhere else. There one tree will be coming. That is one form of seed distribution. Is there any other form? The same seeds were distributed through wind. So can you tell some seeds which are distributed through wind? Any idea?
Anything.
Eh?
Pollen.
Eh?
Pollen. Dandelion.
You have seen so many seeds, right, which are distributed through wind. Similarly, there is another seed distribution method known as through water. You are trying to distribute the seed. Any example? Through water you are distributing the seed. Coconut. Coconut, right. So these are the different methods through which the nature has adopted to distribute the seed. But in all these cases there were some problem. They were not able to do the seed distribution in a proper manner where the nature is feeling it right. They were not able to do it in a correct manner, right? If the nature is thinking that it should be distributed there, they were not able to do that actually. There are limitations to that. That is why humans were created. So main job of a human to distribute the seed to a particular location where our nature is thinking. We can only take that seed to that particular position, distribute it there or keep it there for the next generation to happen, right? So as in this generation, how can you do that seed distribution? Through organic agriculture. This is a one method, because we will not be in a position to distribute the seed throughout the world, right? So our first step is to do this organic farming, right? That is why this organic farming is coming into picture. So the main aim of a human is to distribute the seed. So have you seen this man? He is known as Nammalvar. He is one of my guru, right? So he tells that organic farming creates living soil. Previously I told chemical farming creates dead soil, but he is a very wonderful man. He is an agriculture scientist, we can tell. He is an ecologist. He is an expert in this field. Right. He will explain all these details in a local or very easily understandable manner. So many videos are there in the net, you can go through that. Right. So he tells that how will you perform this organic farming? He tells it can be done by following these 3 steps. Only 3 steps are required for performing organic farming. What are they? First one, harvest the solar energy, feed the bacteria, recycle the waste. Right. So how will you harvest the solar energy? How can you harvest solar energy? Any idea?
So by using solar panels.
Using solar panel. But here that is not the case. Here we are dealing with organic farming. So here harvesting solar energy means it is not in that manner. It is in the other way around. How will you harvest solar energy? Using some green leaves. Right. Green leaves. How you or so that green leaves may be a crop, whatever we are cultivating, or it can be a weed which we are generally destroying. Right. So we are trying to harvest the solar energy through a green leaf. Right. So green leaf can be a crop or a tree or even a weed. Right. How will you identify that the solar energy is captured or harvested by using green leaf? Because when we are going below a shade of a tree, you are not feeling that much heat. What is happening? Whatever heat and light which is disseminated by the or which is sent by the sun will be captured by the leaf. Right. And what they will do? They will store it in their stem, fruit, leaf, etc. Whatever solar energy we are exposing the tree to, it will capture that completely. And that solar energy will be captured, and that solar energy will be converted into their stem, trunk, leaf, fruit, etc., seed, etc. Right. So in addition to the solar energy, they will be taking some few amount of minerals from the soil, but the main component of this tree or the plant is nothing but your solar energy, harvested solar energy. So right. So what you should do? We should plant as many trees or as many crops as possible, so that you should be able to capture the complete solar rays. Right. You should not waste a particular ray of solar energy. Complete solar energy you should be able to harvest. How will you harvest the solar energy? By using leaves. That leaves can be of a tree or a crop or even a weed. Weed also is harvesting solar energy. Right. And they will be storing it in trunk, leaf, fruit, etc. Right. And when the tree's lifespan is over, what will happen? Again it will be coming back to the soil. So whatever solar energy it has captured, it is given back to the soil. So whatever solar energy it has harvested, it is kept as a storage in the soil. It will be stored in the soil. Right. So first and foremost step is harvest the solar energy. Second one, what is the second one? Feed the bacteria. Where is the bacteria available? Generally in the soil. Bacteria means bacteria includes all the microorganisms present in the soil. Right. After harvesting the solar energy, you are storing it in the soil. Right. In addition to that, you need to feed the bacteria. So when a plant is dying, that will be acting as a feed to the bacteria. Right. Because if you are not having the microbial growth in the soil, we are calling it as a dead soil. So living soil means it should be full of say microorganisms. So how many times if you are able to increase the microbial growth, that much fertility the soil will be having. Right? So if you want to increase that count, you need to feed the bacteria. Right? One of the method is whatever plants or trees or whatever it is dying, it will be sent to the soil. That will be taken as a feed to the bacteria. In addition to that, you need to do one more thing. What is that? Recycle the waste. Right? Because we are generating whatever different kinds of waste. It may be say plant waste or animal waste also. Because so many animals are dying and we are also creating animal waste. So whatever animal waste or plant waste we are having, right, you should recycle it back to the soil. Right? So what will the bacteria do? Bacteria will eat that. Right? So the soil will be full of life. So these are the three main steps told by Nammalvar. Harvest the solar energy, right? Feed the bacteria, recycle the waste. So there will not be any problem of waste disposal. We are recycling it back to the soil, and that also will be stored in the soil as your nutrients. So you are storing the solar energy in the soil, right, as well as this plant. So actually, finally speaking, the solar energy is stored in the form of plants as well as animals, right? So when you are recycling a waste, that means you are giving back the harvested solar energy taken by the animals. How the animals are taking the solar energy? Because they are eating the plants. When they are eating a plant, they will get that solar energy taken to their body. When you are recycling that, we are giving back the solar energy to the soil. So harvest the solar energy, feed the bacteria, recycle the waste. This is nothing but your organic farming. And this is my another guru. He is known as KV Dayal. He is also a famous environmentalist, and he has got say Vanamitra award from Kerala government and all. So he has around 35 plus years of experience in this organic farming, basically ecological farming. Farming which is based on ecology. Organic farming is based on ecology, right? And he tells that organic farming is based on life. Whose life? Life in the soil. The same thing Nammalvar was also telling. So organic farming is based on life. Life is the basis of organic farming. Right? If we are not having life, we cannot do this organic farming. Right? He also tells the same thing. Harvest the solar energy. Right? And he tells that store the food in the soil, not in godowns. What does it mean? You are harvesting the solar energy by trees or leaves or whatever it is, and when they are dying, you are storing that solar energy stored in the stem, because when they are harvesting the solar energy, that solar energy will be converted into trunk, leaves, fruit, etc. And when they are dying back, when their lifespan is over, they will be added to the soil, right? And other plants will absorb this from the soil and they will create food for us. So actually what you are doing, you are keeping the food, you are storing the food in the soil. Basic ingredient of this food manufacturing is harvested solar energy. So you are storing the food in the soil, not in godowns. Similarly, store water in the soil, not in dams. They are great thinking. We will not be thinking in that manner. That is why we are following them. Store the water in soil. How will you store the water in soil? Not by creating dams or tanks. How will you do that? You need to increase the organic matter in the soil, or organic carbon or organic matter in the soil you need to increase. Right? Whenever the plants and animals are dying, they will be going to the soil in the form of organic matter or organic, basically they are organic carbons, right? So you are trying to increase the organic matter, by that you are increasing the carbon content in the soil, right? So when you are increasing the organic matter in the soil, what will happen? Soil will be something like a sponge, right? So how many hour water is falling into that through rain, the soil will be able to hold it. It will penetrate in the soil and it will be stored there, right? You can see. And how will you store that? If you want to store that, you should have some trees or plants planted there, right? Because their root will be acting as a dam in the soil, right? If you are not having a plant there, and if you are having a loose soil, what will happen? Soil erosion will happen. But since you are incorporating more organic matter in the soil and you are having a plant or a tree there, their root network will hold the soil. How many hour water it is poured on that, it will hold that. That is why in the uh, nobody is watering the plants in the forest, right? Whenever rain is there, the water will percolate in the soil, and that water will be held by the root network in the soil. It may be roots of a tree or plant or whatever it is, right? So there you are creating a dam by using the root network of the soil, of the trees, right? So you are storing water in the soil by forming a dam in the soil. Who is that dam? Your root network, right? So you should have more carbon in the soil, so the soil will be loosened, so the water will go inside. And who is holding that? The root network. That is how you are storing water in the soil, right? You consider that if your soil is very hard, what will happen? If you are pouring a water, it will flow through that easily. But if you are having a tree and if the soil is loose, how many ever water is pouring, it will be stored underneath the plants. So when you are using green mulch, you are actually covering the soil. It is nothing but a living mulch. And another method of covering the soil is that you can use dry leaves, right? So either you can use dry leaves or green cover for covering the soil. By covering the soil, you are preventing the water loss due to evaporation, and you are protecting the microorganisms present in the soil. And one more thing is that you are preventing the soil from getting hardened. You are allowing air to pass through it, and it will be kept as loose soil itself. So that is why you are covering the soil. Then next point is you need to hybridize the soil, not the seed. Generally you are using hybrid seeds, no? So actually what you should do, you should not use hybrid seeds. Instead of that, you should make the soil hybrid, right? And in that soil, whatever plant you are growing, from that seeds generated from the plant, you should select the seed which is of some special quality. So you are hybridizing the soil by incorporating more organic content into the soil, and in that you are growing a plant, say lady's finger, and whatever seeds you are getting from that, say if you are having 100 seeds, 1 or 2 seeds in that will be having some special qualities such as say size, weight, etc. Those seeds you need to take from that lady's finger for the next planting. So you should not use hybrid seeds. Instead of that, you can hybridize the soil, take the seeds from that plant and use it for the next generation. That is why what is meant by hybridize the soil, not the seed. The next point is weeds are friends of the soil. Generally what you will do, you will be cutting off the seeds. You will destroy the seeds. That you should not do. They are friends of the soil. Whatever nutrients, say sometimes you will be growing a plant, they will not be able to take the nutrients from the soil, right? That soil will be that nutrients will be absorbed by the weeds, and weeds will be growing, right? So weeds can take the nutrients from the soil which cannot be absorbed by the normal crops. So weeds will be taking that kinds of minerals. So what will happen? What will be happening? The weeds will be growing, and when the weeds are fully grown, you can cut that weeds and add into the soil. You should not directly destroy the weed. You should cut the weed when it is growing above the crop and give it back to the soil. So what is happening? Whatever nutrients which are taken by the weeds, we are giving back to the soil in a particular format in such a way that it can be taken by other plants. So weeds will be taking nutrients which are not taken by other plants. So finally, when you are cutting that weeds and giving back to the soil, that nutrients will be in the form in which the other plants can take. So weeds are friends of a soil. They increase the organic matter and the nutrients in the soil so that other plants can take the nutrients from the weeds through the soil, right? Next point is soil should not be tilled mechanically, or deep tilling is not allowed, but it needs to be loosened naturally. How will you naturally loosen the soil? By giving more organic carbon and using earthworms and other microorganisms. So if you are having a living soil, that soil will be loosened naturally. You are not required to till it. So you should not deep till the soil using machinery, but the soil should be loosened naturally by incorporating more organic content. So by you are making the soil a living soil, because more earthworms and other things will be there. And the next point is very important. Don't burn any organic matter. Right? Normally what you will do, all the dry leaves you will be burning. Don't burn that dry leaves. You keep it on the soil as a cover or as a mulch for the soil. If you are burning it, what will happen? What is a dry leaf? It is nothing but stored solar energy. If you are burning that dry leaf, you will be getting a very few ash. That is a thing what it has actually taken from the soil. When you are burning, you are releasing the stored solar energy to the nature. You should not do that. So when you are burning a organic matter, you are releasing the stored energy back to the nature. You should not do that. Whatever solar energy it has been stored, it should be given back to the soil. So you should not burn any organic matter. Let it to decompose in the soil itself. So whatever solar energy it has stored will be given back to the soil. Right? Then the last one is, don't destroy the pest. Try to repel them. Don't apply any pesticides, but apply some natural formulations or biological formulation such as neem seed or neem leaf extract, etc. Right? If you are applying some neem leaf extract to the plant, what will happen? That plant will be bitter, so that pest will not be attacking it. They will be repelled by the this formulation. So you should do that. Don't destroy the pest, but repel them. Right? So these are the main points told by Dayal sir. Right? So what do we need for starting an organic farming? We have seen all these things. What do you need for starting an organic farming or agriculture? Any idea? Any answer? What do we need to start an organic farming? You need to have organic mind. If you are having a mind to start or to do organic farming, you can do that. All the other things will be coming to you automatically. First of all, you should have a mind in you to do organic farming, right? That is the first and foremost thing you need to know. Then I will show. So till now I have explained what do you mean by organic farming and all those things. Then I will show the video of our organic kitchen garden some few years before, right? So then only you will be getting a clear picture. So I will be showing the video of that. So here this is a organic terrace garden which we are having in our home at Kovai Pudur. We are having around 88 bags. I think it was 2 years before. So 88 grow bags we are having, and you have seen in the left hand side here, the first one was the tomato. You can see the tomato plants. Then you can see the chili plants, right? Here these are the brinjal plants.
Then this is cowpea. Then here you can see ladies' fingers, right? Here you can see the climbers. So you can see tomato is coming, brinjal, lady's finger. And we have used the drip irrigation for all these plants so that it will be automatically watered. Then you can see here peas, long yard beans you can see, cucumbers you can see, salad cucumber. Bitter gourd, ridge gourd. This is avara, chili. Here you can see the what is that? Cauliflower is there. These are the cauliflowers. Here what you are seeing is a cauliflower. Then and this side you can see cabbage. This is the next crop. Whatever I have shown was I think 2 years before. This was the next year. We have replanted it. So here you can see one line of cabbage. And this is a cauliflower. This is a cauliflower. Right. This is a cabbage. Then I will show a few more photos. So this is our kitchen garden. My son is holding that piece. Long yard beans. This is a what is that? Cauliflower and cabbage. These are beetroots. Have anybody done beetroot in your home? These are the beetroots. And this is one day harvest of cabbage and cauliflower. And have you done capsicum in your home? This is a capsicum which has ripened. And this is a tomato, ripened tomato. This is my wife. So this is our harvest. And you see from the small terrace garden, you are able to get all these things. This right hand side you can see lemon. This is a beetroot. These are the cauliflowers. Another day's harvest. Here you can see cucumbers are there. Snake gourd is there. Then brinjal is there. Chili. Then bottle gourd is there. Bitter gourd, etc. etc. Here you can see the capsicum also. Then this is a small land outside our. This is my compound wall. There is a 1.5 feet space outside the compound wall. In that 1.5 feet, 30 feet long, we have done some onion cultivation. Right. We have planted around 750 grams of onion, and we have harvested 9 kg. Around 10 times you got the harvest. So how we are getting that? When you are planting one onion here, this is one onion. When you are planting one onion, you will be getting around 10 onions around that. When you are planting one, you will get 10 onions. So generally speaking, onion will be having harvest of 10 times. If you are keeping 1 kg as seed, if you are planting 1 kg, you should get around 10 kg. So we got around 9 kgs from this small land. Length will be 30 feet, width will be around 1.5 feet. Here also we have done the drip irrigation. Then in the same place we have done cabbage cultivation. In the same 1.5 feet land. Right, cabbage. All the cabbage were very good. Then these are some of the few pictures of the organic farm what you have done in Amruda. So this is our small farm, around 10 cents we have done for experimental purpose. Right, this is a farm. This was the harvest one day's harvest.
And if you want to have some high-tech organic farming in your home, this is done by Kerala Agriculture University. This is something known as poly house, polycarbonate sheet house. Inside this, you can plant all the crops. This is a 10 square meter poly house which you can build in your home. So what is the advantage of poly house is that external weather will not affect your plant. If rain is there, nothing will happen to a plant. If more heat is there, then also it won't be affected because one screen will be there over the plant, right? So this is known as a poly house, tiny poly house, 10 square meter poly house developed by Kerala Agriculture University. And here this is known as multi-tier grow bag. Here you are using a drum. In the drum, on different sides, on all the sides, you are putting some holes and you are keeping the plant. So what will happen in a say 1 meter area, you will be able to harvest around 40 or 50 plants. Otherwise, you will be able to plant only one plant here. But if you are using this multi-tier grow bag, around 40 to 50 plants you can plant here. So it is more space saving form. And this is another form of same multi-tier grow bag. So this is inside the polyhouse. So in the same 1 square meter area, you are able to cultivate this much amounts of greens. This is known as multi-tier grow bag. That means in different layers you are planting different plants. So by this I am coming to end. So this is the ending slide, right? Once in your life you need a doctor, a policeman, etc. But daily 3 times you need somebody who is known as a farmer. So you should respect them, right? So if you ate today, thank a farmer, right? Don't forget to support a local farmer, because you will be you are telling no, Mada Pita Guru Devam. I would like to add one more term there before Mada, that is Kisan or farmer. So Kisan, Mada, Pita, Guru, Deva. Because without Kisan or farmer, all the next coming 3 cannot live. Next layers cannot live. So always farmer should be the pinpoint of a society. That is why we are telling Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. We are not telling Jai Engineer, Jai Kisan or Jai Engineer, Jai Jawan. We are telling Jai Kisan or Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. Farmer should be the main pinpoint in that society, right? So whatever thing you are able to do for the upliftment of a farmer, you should do that. So thank you Western Ghats for giving me an opportunity to explain my view with your students. Thank you students for patiently hearing me. I think you will be motivated to at least plant a few plants in your home. So if you are having your balcony, there itself you can use some grow bags or buckets or something to grow plants, right? It is very easy. If some you can start with a small amount of plants, then you can later on increase the number of plants.